So, even though it's been like 2-3 weeks, well, yeah, finally did it. Moon Knight. What'd you think about the show?
Me and you probably have different opinions on this one.
That's fair.
I to be honest, I didn't really enjoy it that much. Like the whole time when I was watching it, I didn't really care about the character, and I was like half asleep like half of the time when I was watching it because like I don't know, I kind of found it boring. And the only exciting part is when I saw him in the suits. To me, in my opinion, the only thing I found also interesting is like the multi personality and how like he has different abilities when he depending on the person that's actually being presented to us. But I didn't really enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay. So, what's it called? You said Loki was your favorite show?
Yeah,
so
I like
far?
Loki, yeah.
That's funny.
You don't like Loki at all.
I mean, to each his own. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, in the beginning, Moon Knight, like the first couple, I feel like the first couple episodes were really good, but it fell off towards the end of the show.
The first episode was good, yeah. I'll give it that.
Not just the first episode, but the show is good overall. Like, this thing is dope. Like, but, it definitely fell off towards the end, and I feel like it didn't have an ending in mind. That's just how I felt like from watching it, because it kind of felt. It's weird how the show felt huge but small at the same time. Like it felt like it had like huge ramifications, but it didn't at the same time. Like it felt very very like, this is some other shit compared to what's going on with Marvel, which I like that versus it being way too much heavily focused on Marvel. Like the fact that you could just watch the show on its own and not know anything about Marvel is fire to me. Like, and I think that it does stand alone versus the other shows, which I feel like the other shows are a crutch to the Marvel universe, and this isn't. This is its own separate thing. And I know you haven't seen Miss Marvel, but it's somewhat, they're kind of related how they're, well, obviously Miss Marvel is more focused in the Marvel shit just because it's like her name, Miss Marvel, or her favorite character is Miss Captain Marvel. But other than that, it's very sheltered and separate from what's going on, which I actually enjoy from that too. And I feel like another thing that I enjoy is the Egyptian shit. Like all that shit is fire. Like I feel like it expands the universe to the fact that people could get powers from Egyptian gods, which is sick in my opinion. There's the fact that there's multiple different gods, and each of them, if they if you accept them, you could become their warrior, and they all have their own separate suits. I feel like that's one thing that they slacked on, was showing the other people's suits, because they do have suits. Like that's a fact, because the shorty, when she linked up with the hippopotamus, she had her own suit. So it's like, I'm pretty sure that each of them had their own suit, but I feel like they just didn't have the budget for that.
So with me, the first episode kind of captivated me because you're like, oh, what was going on with the character? But then the show, it doesn't really make you think too much. Like you kind of know what's gonna happen really. And I felt like when I figured out like what was really going on with the main character and the other one, I was like, all right, like those were the only two things that I cared about. So episode 1, I was like, what brought me into the show was like, oh man, this guy's confused. He seems to have like some type of multi-personality disorder, and he's another person at different times. And then when I got towards episode 3 and 4, I was like, okay, I don't really care about this show no more. Like, I just want to know what's going on. Which who's the girl one? You know what I mean? And then you got to episode 6, and then that's when it reveals to you okay, Steven's actually the fake one,
and Mark was the real one.
And then I got my answer, and I was like, and it showed you the story of oh, what happened.
That is not to cut you off. That episode was one of my favorites. Like him going through and finding out about his past.
Yeah,
and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like that was really dope.
So legit, only 3 episodes were interesting to me. And then after that, I just didn't care about the show.
So I think me and you can agree that I feel like the main the actor, I forget his name, but he carries the show.
Yeah. He's a good actor.
And I do want to see him in more shit as Moon Knight. Yeah, he carries the show. I really enjoyed the what's his name? The demon. What was the monster's name? Not the monster. The sun. The moon god. Khonshu. I fucked with Khonshu heavily just because it's kind of like it's kind of like the Venom thing, but it's more enjoyable here versus it is.
His voice is less annoying too.
Yeah, and he seems like like he's straight to business. Like he's not here joking, playing games, which I enjoyed. Yeah, honestly, I think in my opinion, this is still the best Marvel show, just because it stands alone from everything. 2, I don't think they need to make a second season. I think it's its own thing, which I really enjoy. It's not setting, like the ending, it sets up something else more for him, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be a whole second season of him fighting his third personality. You know what I mean? Which I enjoyed that. The suit, fire.
The suit is fire.
Both suits are fire. The action, I feel like the action was okay, but it really picked up. The last episode, he was scrapping. Mm-hmm. He was getting busy, and I fucked with that heavily. I feel like my main issue with the show,
it was more so like the thing with me, it was more so like those middle episodes. It was more so like a National Treasure thing where they were looking for one thing and someone was trying to make it there first.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care. Like it kind of felt boring. It was kind of boring.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of character development for the shorty. I feel like even though I liked Layla, I think that's her name. Yeah. I feel like she's I feel like the creators of the show had an agenda, because a lot of the shit, it's a lot of her saving him and him making a lot of stupid mistakes, like fucking up a lot, and her just saving him. Mm-hmm. And then even at the end, she becomes her own superhero. And I truly felt like they were trying to set up something for her, which is really whack. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to like shows, specific, like not shows, when it comes to like just media in general, where like there's something focused, like this show, the show, movie, book, or whatever is about this dude or whatever, the main character, and then the secondary character is getting more shine and more like setup. Same with Doctor Strange, how the main character did nothing. It was more like Wanda doing all the shit. Yeah. Same with Hawkeye. I don't know if you've seen that show. Mm-hmm. How Hawkeye was just fucking up a lot, and the shorty was really doing the shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like even your favorite show, Loki. Loki was a dumbass the whole show, fucking up the whole. Loki, one of the most strongest, smartest. Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep in it, but like they're literally setting up for the girl to be Loki now, like for her to be the main one, and it's just like, why? Like he's still here. Like it's just, and I feel like I'm gonna have the same issue with Thor: Love and Thunder, because I feel like they're gonna do the same thing. They're just gonna fuck over Thor and make Jane like the new Thor, and it's like, no. Like don't, like a lot of the things, the reason why I don't like that is because a lot of those characters aren't even built up enough to even take the mantle.
So do you think there's a way to keep Thor shining and pass the torch to Jane?
No, just because
they can't just have their own two different things. Just
because Thor, the name of Thor is like you're like a god, like, you know what I mean. So it's like it's not really a mantle. Of course, in the comic books it is somewhat of a mantle, but in the movies it's like, yo, you're literally Odin's son. Like it's called, like, you know, Thor. Like you're Odin's son. Like you're the successor and who's supposed to become the king of that, whatever the fuck his place is called. Asgard.
But so you don't think Jane should become a hero at all? You don't.
What do you know about Jane?
I don't know anything about Jane, but I'm pretty sure there's people that know stuff about Jane, though, right?
Jane's not an important character. Like she's literally. I think that's one of the reasons why they made her Thor, because she did nothing. Like she was just a love interest, and the fact that we haven't seen her since like the second Thor movie, it's just like you're literally giving her like the crown when she did nothing. Does that make sense? Like she's not even an important character.
That I see. She
like,
didn't really do
nothing.
nothing.
Like she literally, and then what's even gonna be worse about it? She's going to be better than him. Like they always do that. Like how Hawkeye, the shorty, was better than him somehow, even though Hawkeye has been doing it for years. Or how Loki, how the shorty was better than him, even though Loki's been doing it for years. Like there's just they always do that. They always shit on the main character to make the second character like be like, you know what I mean? Yeah, like to watch. I promise you, she's gonna be doing crazier shit than him. You know what I mean? Like, which doesn't make sense in my head.
I mean, the thing too is why I think the movies will probably be better when she has the mantle is because I feel like the MCU has more experience now on what to do with Thor. So like I can see it being I don't really have high hopes for it because all the Thor movies haven't been so good other than Ragnarok. But I think since now the MCU, how they have more experience on Marvel movies, that it has potential to be a good movie.
I don't think it's gonna be a bad movie. I just don't
like what it does to the character.
I think it's gonna be. I just think it's gonna be another one of those movies where they're just setting up the secondary character. And what makes it even worse is that Thor himself hasn't been a good character for a while. Like they don't really know what to do with him. Yeah. Like the second they figure out that he was funny, they went all in with that. And then I was watching a couple of reviews for this movie, and they said they went. If you thought he was ridiculous in the third one, he's way more ridiculous in this one. So it's like now he's just a joke. Like, you know what I mean? Now he's literally a joke, and he's the only Avenger who got a fourth movie. Why? Why did he get a fourth movie just to set up the girl? Okay. Like they didn't need to make him like this movie. They're like, I was watching the trailer and he was pretty much like, oh, I gotta find myself. Like I don't want to. That's why he gave Valkyrie the crown to become the king of Asgard, because he wanted to go with the Guardians and go find himself or whatever. The nigga's been finding himself for 3 movies. Seriously, he's really been finding himself for 3 movies. It's kind of like, it's ridiculous. I think it's sad. It sucks that he, out of all the main Avengers, gets a 4th film. And not only he gets a 4th film, but he gets a 4th film to set up another character. Like he still hasn't found what's his arc throughout all the films. Like he's been, I feel like the best Thor has been was the Avengers movies, just because we see like how the death of his brother and the death of like all his people, like how that shit affected him. Like he's like, yo, I have nothing to lose. Like I gotta kill Thanos. Like I feel like that's the best he's been in. Like where it hasn't been just a fucking joke. Like but now it's kind of like he has nothing to do. Like and it's kind of like he should have got an ending like Iron Man did. Like he should have got an ending like Cap did. He didn't. Which kind of shows you like he had like they don't really know what to do with him. Like the 3 main niggas, Thor, Cap, and Iron Man. It's funny how 2 of them got endings, but he didn't. And I don't think they're gonna give him a proper ending in this one.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. What about this one?
I don't. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what I feel like this movie specifically. I feel like it's a waste. Like I truly didn't want to watch it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I truly didn't want it because I feel like what are they setting up in this film? That there are other gods, because I think we see Zeus in the trailer. Yeah, that's cool. Like I just don't know. Like
we talking about Moon Knight.
It all wraps around just because it's even Moon Knight. I feel like the series. It's funny because it's like on a completely different side note. People like hardcore fans of Moon Knight don't like the show because it doesn't properly portray the character. Because most I don't know if you've heard this, but people always say like Moon Knight is like Marvel's Batman. Have you heard that before?
I've never heard that, no.
But yeah, people say Moon Knight is Marvel's Batman because originally Moon Knight never had powers. He was just like a billionaire, like on some Batman shit, and he just had a lot of moon-shaped crescents and like throwing knives and shit. Like he was like a mercenary and shit. But then later on in the comics, he did start getting powers and shit. So it's like they dive and like so like the old G Moon Knight, he was like a detective, like he was, and then like he used the different personalities to like one of the personality was like a cab driver for villains, like so he could get like information from villains. Like another one was like a rich playboy. Like he used that to his advantage versus like how this is kind of like it's like a hindrance for him. But yeah, like a lot of the hardcore Moon Knight fans don't fuck with the show because it focused too heavily on the mythical than he's more of like a. He's like a detective, like he's way more of Batman than he is like mystical, like magic power type shit.
Like
you know
Dr. Fate.
Like yeah, he's not flying like he was in the show. Like he's not changing the fucking moon and shit. Like he's not doing none of that. Like he's just like a regular person, which is funny because like that's.
So are there more comics of him being a detective?
Yeah. I think there is originally, but I don't know now. Like I don't know. I'm not a big on Moon Knight, but I just know like. People were upset and people are upset about this the same reason why they're upset about Miss Marvel. They're changing the origins of the character for new audiences. So like a nigga will really come up to you and be like, yeah, Moon Knight, yeah, he has powers, but like a real nigga will know like he really doesn't. Like you know what I mean? It's kind of like when you put it out to the masses that people that don't know shit. It's the same way like what's it called? What was I thinking of again? Or like I'm thinking like. Even Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman, when you put a character that has a whole different origin, if you put him out there, kind of like for new people to see, like the Ben Affleck Batman was killing niggas, like that's a fact. He was killing niggas, he was shooting niggas, breaking ribs, killing niggas. But like people didn't like that because that's not really what Batman is. So now like if you talk to somebody that only seen that, they're like, yeah, Batman kills, who cares? Like it's not that deep. Versus people who know that like Batman takes that shit to the
that's
the
like
chest.
that's like the biggest part of Batman.
Exactly.
Of Batman, yeah.
So it's like, but yeah, overall, I don't know a lot about Moon Knight, but I just know like what we saw wasn't the representation of Moon Knight.
But what you saw is you liked it.
I still enjoyed it for what it was like, and I think without that main actor, I don't think anybody could have pulled that off. Like being able to pull off different voices and accents and shit. Like I don't think anybody could have pulled that off. The way he switches on a dime is actually impressive. Like I really think like the nigga could have almost won an award for this shit. Like how good. Like I really believe Steven and Mark were
two different. Yeah, they
like,
definitely
you know what I mean?
felt like two different people. Yeah.
So the imagery with the mirrors, he's always talking to a mirror and like all that shit is really good, but I feel like it's just the plot that people I feel like you didn't enjoy. It was everything else, this like the character, like the set design, how they were in Egypt, how how he looks, like everything, all that was good. I just feel like the plot, like from point A to point B, like that's what like a lot of people didn't enjoy. Like,
yeah, it wasn't really like complex or anything like that.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that he had like multiple versions of himself.
Yeah, but yeah, so I don't know. It was the reason I still feel like it's the best is just because it's its own thing, and it's still. I feel like if you showed that Moon Knight to somebody who didn't watch Marvel, I think they would enjoy it.
So you like that better than the Cap and Falcon? Winter Soldier? That one was fire.
I think it was good. I don't think it was fire. I think it was good though. I think it was good. And the reason why I feel like we really enjoyed it was because that was the first Marvel show type shit. Like you know what I mean? We'll rewatch it, see if it still stands up. Like you know what I mean? Like a lot of the shit like I watch a lot of like retrospective videos of people who like break down shows and shit like. So like I somewhat rewatched that show and it doesn't really stand up, like you know what I mean. So how we were perceiving it back then, like same with how people were perceiving WandaVision back then, like oh this is the first show, like yo it's so big, it's so hype, like but it's like you know what I mean. It's not, yeah. That's how I see it. Yeah. Like Falcon, I don't think that nigga's ever gonna get a movie. Like you know what I mean. I'm just being honest. Like I don't think he's ever gonna get like a Cap 4. Like you know what I mean. I don't think he's gonna get that, and that's like. So what was the point of the show? Like, you know, but yeah, Moon Knight. What would you rate it? I'd rate it 7.5.
I would give it a 5.
Okay.
I'll give it a 5.
What would you rate Loki?
Loki, I would give an 8.
Okay, I give it a 3.
Yo, it's so disrespectful.
Nah, but it's like, you know, that's to each his own. Like, you know what I mean? You might like pizza, I might like, you know, pasta.
I like pineapple on my pizza.
You know,
You
so.
don't like that?
Not really, man. Pineapple's good on its own. It doesn't need pizza. But, yeah. Yeah, we'll probably talk about Miss Marvel when this finishes. But I feel like we'll probably have the same issues with Miss Marvel. Other than, like, I think because you haven't seen it, I think what you'll enjoy about Miss Marvel is the way it looks, like the way it's directed. It's very teen energy, like, you know what I mean. Versus this, it seems like this Moon Knight was going for like the National Treasure type vibe, and not even me. I don't even like those types of movies, like. But I enjoyed it just because of Mark Spector, like that nigga, like everything he was doing, I was enjoying, like everything, him talking to himself, I was enjoying all of that shit. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Glamour of wearing diamonds.
Diamonds bring
Status.
elegance and prestige. Their brilliance makes